Hey there, crew. Today we're going to talk about the artist Gustav Klimt and his famous Tree of Life. And actually, I'm going to put this video link in the instructions so that you could watch an art historian, somebody who has studied art throughout history, talk about Gustav Klimt in particular and how he kind of was part of this new style called Art Nouveau, and that means new art. Because this new style was fascinated with patterns and decoration and repeating shapes and patterns in particular. And if you look at the Tree of Life here, can you see what shape or line or pattern is repeated over and over? He's obsessed with these spirals, these branches of the tree. He turned into spirals. They're almost hypnotizing, but he repeats them all over, and there's a variety of size as well. Some are smaller, some are medium, some are bigger. So that also creates rhythm with his patterns. So he knew what he was doing in terms of elements and principles of design. And actually, you can see his little artist signature down here too, Gustav Klimt. So we'll look more into his work and then talk about what we're going to do as well. So here we go. So the Tree of Life is an important symbol in nearly every culture. So the Tree of Life represents wisdom and protection, strength and beauty. It's reaching up high into the sky, and it also is underground with the roots. So it's kind of connecting underground and then on earth and then reaching up to the sky into the heavens and space. So it's almost like a mystical, magical thing. And it's so big, it's almost like it goes on forever and ever because the spirals and the branches go off the page. You, as the viewer, can decide how far it goes. Maybe it goes on forever. So you want to keep looking at the painting to explore and find more because of those repeated patterns and shapes. And there's movement in the work because the spirals keep your eyes moving. The interesting details and layered patterns keep your eye moving. There's just so much to look at when you see it, especially up close. But this has become a symbol of the Tree of Life, and everybody who sees it recognizes it as that special tree. So here is Gustav Klimt. He's from the country of Austria in Europe. He loved shapes, color, patterns, decorations. His favorite color, though, gold. So he really enjoyed the idea of the Tree of Life and what it stood for, that strength and protection, the beauty of nature. But he was most happy in his life when he was painting and with his amazing pet cat. So maybe you have a pet cat that you do your art with as well. So that was his favorite pet and his favorite painting and favorite color. So gold, the Tree of Life, and his cat. So here's the full Tree of Life painting. So in that first slide, we just saw the little close-up of the hawk sitting in the tree. But as you can see, like I mentioned, those spirals, those branches, they go off in every single direction off the canvas, off the page. So you kind of envision them going on forever and ever, kind of like an infinity and beyond type situation. Also, we know all about portraits too, which are images of people or animals, and he has both. So he has people kind of balanced on both sides, and they're in some very fancy looking clothes with the gold and the patterns, and those patterns also are reflected in the tree as well. So maybe he's saying that these people are kind of magical like the tree. And then also the fruit on the tree are those like all-seeing eyes, like magical fruits. So cool. So he's repeating those shapes as well, and since they have different sizes, different colors, it has rhythm as well. So he knew exactly what he was doing there too. So very huge painting as well, very, very large. So here's some other works by the Gove, Love, and Gustav. You can see that spiral is not just in the Tree of Life. He incorporates that spiral in almost every single one of his works. So he kind of became obsessed with the spirals, all over patterns and decorations, and especially shiny silver and gold. So he thought that was the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, the bomb.com, using gold and silver leaf in his painting, and that made it shiny and also a little more expensive too. So cool stuff. So what does our painting need? Well, if you remember from the book, lots of people get inspired by this tree of life. And just like Gustav Klimt is telling us, that in nearly every culture, they use the tree of life as a symbol. So we're going to create a tree of life as well. We're going to use a gradient of warm colors in the background. So if you need a review on warm colors, reds, yellows, pinks, and oranges, then we're also going to use some neutrals like browns, blacks, whites, and grays. And you'll be able to use that in your painting. You can use a few cool colors as well, like blues, greens, and purples, but for the most part, we're focusing on neutrals and warm. We want spirals on our tree of life. So you can determine how many spirals you want, but try to get at least one in there because that's like the main symbol of going on and on and on forever for infinity. Have at least one animal. So he just had the hawk, but in the story there were more animals, and then his favorite pet was a cat. Maybe you want your pet in there or some other animals in the tree, on the tree, around the tree, whatever. Try to have at least one human too. I liked how he had two sets of people, so it created balance on each side, but you can have as many people as you want. Maybe you want to be part of that magical tree as well in some fancy gold outfit. Eye-shaped fruits on the tree of life. Try to have some eye-shaped fruits to also represent Gustav Klimt, the magical tree of life symbol, and the story that we read. So we're really going to focus on his style of lots of shapes, lots of patterns, some rhythm, layers of detail, and we're also going to use a little silver and gold paint. If you don't have any silver and gold, maybe you have crayons or markers, metallic Sharpies, metallic colored pencils, metallic oil pastels. We're going to be using a wide variety of materials, so maybe even scraps of paper that are gold or silver or shiny. So try to use a variety of materials that could layer but also be a little shiny and fancy like Gustav Klimt. So here's my example. I included that warm colored gradient transition in the background. I added characters from the story. I wanted mine to represent the story as well as Gustav Klimt. So you'll see that I have the characters from the book, the hawk in the tree, and then this character too, who kind of gave the gift in the story too. But lots of details, lots of patterns, and then you can see some of that gold paint kind of shines even in this photograph, so yours will too. Pretty awesome. But you can see I have lots of spirals, lots of patterns, lots of details, lots of eye-shaped fruit, and like a crazy river pattern too. I was kind of going nuts. Here are some student examples where you can see some cool colors as well, but mostly warms and neutrals, characters from the book and from their imagination, and lots of eye-shaped fruit and personal style, stripes. Love it. Here's some more student examples. So they really dove in terms of being like Gustav Klimt, thinking Art Nouveau. So you can review the slideshow and like the requirements there and what you need. I'm also going to do a demonstration, so a demonstration video of what you can do and then the steps that you can take, especially for making that gradient background. And then I want you to submit your work and show me what you have in terms of symbolism and pattern and Art Nouveau and Gustav Klimt level masterpieces. So keep up the good work, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. Adios, amigos.